actually in the media. That is, the video, the music that you hear, and the actual theatrical lighting are all perfectly looped using in this exact structure that we specified. But the dancers are trying to duplicate what they saw in that videotape. And it was interesting that what the meaning of the piece actually emerged because of the fact they could never do it perfectly. It was the human error, the constant struggle that they had to attempt to adopt this externally imposed rhythm that made the piece, gave the piece an actual meaning. And so it was somehow this struggle with the machine and human beings. That's kind of an old story, but yet there was a presence of that, of them relentlessly going with it, that really seemed to transfer to the audience. So that's the story of Loop Diver. And so as I started thinking about what that was, I came up with this idea of the digital intervention. And this one has a little top-down model too, but it's slightly different than the one we saw before. At the top is the system. We chose the idea of looping. Why do we use computers? Because they'll do something over and over and over again without ever complaining for like 1,000,000 years. We love that about computers. In fact, the notion of looping is very, very core to the notion of what a computer is. In the middle were Dawn and I as the creators, and also I must mention our dramaturg, Peter Fonsalas, who during this process fulfilled the notion that if you don't want to kill your dramaturg, he's not doing his job. He was very tough with us about this whole process and was a huge asset. So we were in the middle there, and at the bottom is the performer. So here, the system is dictating how we compose, how we create, and how the performers learn to perform the material. And we all had to face a massive shift. And because of that, we had to reconsider who we were as artists, we had to reconsider who we were as performers, and for us, in Troika Ranch, that led to a very profound and deeply satisfying experience, and a piece of which we continue to be really, really proud. So, the issue is, as I come to my last 5 minutes here, we lost something, though. There was that immediacy, that thing when the performers were feeling the media in their bodies, where it was coming from them. We deeply missed it, actually. It was hard. I tried for 2 years to find a way to put sensors into this piece, and the piece wouldn't let me because they did not belong in this piece. But it was hard, and I struggled and struggled and struggled because that's what we do. And I had to let go almost of an image of what Troika Ranch was. But I still wanted to find a way to do it. And as I thought about this and thought about this, I think that I might have come up with a solution, and that's the main point I wanted to get to today, is a proposal for another way of working. I think the answer is that we have to take these two forms and we have to crush them into one unit and create something new. And what we want to create is this. I don't know about you, but I can sit and look at this for hours. There's a special building in Berlin where all the birds gather. You can always go there and see this. If you want to talk about an interactive system, look no further. This thing is truly interactive. It evolves over time. It has unity and variety, the classic things that we look for in an art form, but it's really happening live. And I started thinking about it, because you know what's fascinating about this system? There's only 2 parameters, the proximity of the birds to each other and their velocity. And there are 3 rules that cause this flock to do what they do. Don't get too close, don't get too far away, adopt the speed and velocity of the group. That's all there is to it. And this is also why you see many models of bird flocking on computers. It's really easy to do. But here's the key. There's 2 keys. First, it's the error in implementing the system that causes the variety. It's the fact that they can't precisely measure how far away they are. They can't precisely sense the speed and velocity of the group. That's what causes the flock to do all the variation that we see. But I realized the most important point here, and this is someplace where I haven't seen really people attempting to do this, and this is my proposal. The input to the system is also the output of the system. The birds are what we're watching here. We see the particles of this system reacting together. But in fact, so that's the output. They're the media. But in fact, they're the performers too. And so if you want a feedback loop, you want to really close this thing, that's what we need to do. The performers have to be the media. They are the same. You link them. And so that means that we have to discover a way to have the computers instruct the performers what to do, just the same way we instruct a music synthesizer or any of the other devices that we control. And the thing is, as I look at this system, I realize it's a self-organizing system that starts with no knowledge. There's no leader of this group. There's no one bird saying, this is where we're going to go. There's no general. They have the 2 properties and the 3 rules, and you get this beautiful result. And obviously, the very simple rules lead to an ever-changing and compelling result. Feedback drives the evolution of the system. It's the way they're constantly monitoring their relationship to each other that causes it to happen. And finally, there's agency, potentially, in both the computer, because both the computer and the performers will energize the system. If I'm a performer and I do something, it's sensed. The computer tells me what to do, it changes the way I behave, and that's sensed. And now that loop totally exists. So, to close, I guess the thing that surprised me, because our next project, Troika Ranch's next project, which we're right now calling Swarm, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make this happen. And I would really encourage those of you who are working with the digital reflection as a model to consider this idea and think about what it might mean and think about the idea of emergent systems, because I think there's a lot for us to know there that can help us if we're really serious about interactivity. But the thing that surprised me most is that actually everything that I feel like I want to do in terms of my next big artistic project, I actually knew in 1975 when I played that game of NIM. So I would suggest in closing that if you want an answer about where dance and technology might be able to go,